Welcome to the Soul Too Early Sports Card Podcast, created just for this holy day of shitposting. That's Kai. I'm the odds of success 28 to 3. And Kai, you had to know this was coming, especially because you missed the opportunity several months back to get bullied about your Falcons. It is March 28th on the day of recording, 28 to 3. I had to get it out there. But besides that, I know you've not been on socials all day today. How the hell you doing?
Yeah, it is kind of rough, I wonder how long it's going to take people to stop thinking of that. Do you think it'll ever stop?
I I don't think it's going to stop. I do think the Colts situation with the Vikings helps because theoretically that is more of a fuck up, but I believe those are the regular season, so there
Yeah,
is a
it
big
wasn't the Super
difference.
Bowl.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
big difference between the Super Bowl and that. I mean, it is really funny that they both involve Matt Ryan, although, if you actually have
yeah,
an
really
intelligent
funny. Yeah.
conversation, if you have an intelligent conversation about it, obviously Matt Ryan is not the main reason why, but it is kind of funny that he is connected to both the most historic regular season collapse and playoff slash Super Bowl collapse as well. It's crazy, and we could do an entire special about this, but I did have to tease about this a little bit.
Yeah.
This episode is a little different. Usually, we're a little more structured in what we have. I kind of just wrote a note set today. Do a little more of a guerrilla style of podcast, general notes, and we'll just talk through them. So, we can have conversations about the MLB. I think we're gonna have a section about like some picks for the year. I kind of said I was gonna do it and then I've not checked. So really what I wanted to do today is focus on some like key aspects of collecting that I've taken a little bit of a step back in the last week or two. I'm really happy that we recorded with Joku last week, or I guess 10 days ago at this point, before Chicago. So I had a little bit more time to reflect not only on that show and that experience, but also kind of just like take my mind off of sports cards for a bit. And holy shit, dude, so much has gone on since we last recorded. First, something really exciting for you, which I know you posted about a couple days ago, but I want to give you the floor to kind of talk more about. So go for it, Kai.
Nothing too crazy. I mean, that's
Oh,
kind of crazy, I
okay.
guess.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
but yeah. So Joku, who we had on last week, I talked to him a little bit afterwards. So we're kind of in a partnership now. We're gonna be working together on a lot of things. Not to get into not partnership with like us as the podcast, like me personally. Um, I can't get into too much details. I mean, I'm just going to be kind of helping out the process, working together on a lot of things. I think he needed a little more like help on back end stuff that like maybe he didn't have time for, stuff like that. But very excited. I think it's going to be really good. There's a lot of things we're planning and working on that will be announced in due time, but it's very exciting. Yeah. I'm
Dude,
happy about it.
I'm really happy for you too because it's ironic. And this was not planned or staged in any way, shape, or form. But he was talking about how he needed some help during our
Yeah.
episode last week. And I don't know if he reached out to you or you reach out to him or how that conversation happened. Yeah, dude, what, 2 days later after the episode premiered, you guys had I think I texted Joko about it and he had let me know, or actually you might have texted me. You're like, yeah, we're gonna work together. I'm like, oh fuck, all right, cool. Like I was really happy
Yeah.
for you. I ended up texting him on the side, like congratulating him. It's awesome. Like it really truly is. And I have seen like the podcast continue to grow and like all this development and great things because people go up to me at shows and they'll say they love it. And it really happens like 2 to 4, even 5 times at these major shows. It's really a cool thing. We're not the largest podcast by any means, but I have noticed that we are growing, that there is some kind of like connection there. And this is kind of that first step, at least for you, where like, yeah, dude, this podcast is positively affecting your life. That's fucking awesome. And I'm really proud of you guys. It's really cool.
Yeah. I'm excited for the next show I go to for that. I mean, I haven't been to a show since the National, so I'm kind of missing it. But hopefully
Do you
this
have
summer I'll
anything
get out to a
planned? Like,
few.
do you know what you want to like head to next? Is it really just school holding you up at this point?
Well, this summer I'll have my first like no school summer
It's awesome.
since high school, so I
It's
have a lot
pretty
of time
dope.
for things. I'm really hoping to get out to a few shows or even maybe like go to California with Joku at some point,
I
just
mean,
to hang
yeah,
out.
dude,
But
if
yeah,
you can afford it and if you're able to, that Burbank show at the end of August is gonna be dope. On top of obviously the National in Chicago, which I don't know. I haven't talked about this because I haven't talked since Chicago. So Chicago show was amazing, always a good time. Back-to-back shows was a little mentally draining, and I think that's completely fair for people. I give a lot of people credit who do this full time and like do travel 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row to shows, and I have done that in the past too. But I don't know. I'm kind of an older 26-year-old. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like mentally tired or like my job was stressing me out on top of cards. I was fucking beat. But the show was good. And I also confirmed and locked down at least one showcase so far for National, which is amazing.
that's awesome.
Dude, having that known in March
That's
is
big.
amazing. Like it made my weekend, no matter what other deals I had at the time or ended up making anyway. It was awesome. Just like that peace of mind, knowing I can go in. I hear some reverbing feedback. I'm not sure you're touching your
Oh,
mic.
sorry. Yeah, I accidentally just hit my mic. Yeah,
You're
my
good.
bad.
But I'm not sure like or that ability to know that I have this set up and like I'm gonna be prepared and like I'm gonna be setting up with Andy, par for the
Oh,
course
awesome.
cards. Someone who I've been
Yeah.
lucky to know for like 5 years at this point. Like he not only has always gone out of his way to be nice to me, and like I've set up with him at the spectacular, and even the 2019 national, 2019 or
Yeah,
2021. It,
yeah.
it was one of
It
those
was
two.
that was the first time I met all you guys in real life.
So it was 2021 then I believe. Was
It
it
was when you guys were like
2019?
all set up in that circle, right?
Yes.
I don't
So
remember. I think that was a 19, wasn't it?
yeah, that's really scary if it's
There's no
2019.
way that was 2021. There's
It's
no
one
way.
of the two because 2022 was AC obviously, and we were set up there together. 2021 was I think it was 2021
It
because
might have been. It just doesn't
I
it
have
seems
the
like a
picture
lot
on my
longer than
Instagram.
that.
So either way, when I got there to the show, I had no expectations setting up. I was like, "Fuck, this sucks." I'm just gonna walk around. Like, I'm not the best person for walking the show. It's too massive. And Andy somehow, some way, he had his table all set up, and he had put down like PVC pipe or 2x4. It's like, "Hey man, listen, I got a showcase. I have two for a couple days. You want one?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" And
Andy's
I
the
ended up
GOAT.
setting up, and it was a tight, uncomfortable space because, of course, they're just jamming as many dealers in there as you can. But it was awesome, and knowing now that in March I'm setting up again, I can prep accordingly. Dude, my goal by August, or I guess I should say end of July, I want to have like 25 to 40 cards, all between like 5 to 25 grand, and just kind of wait. Like, there's no reason to have as much inventory as I previously did. And it's a little weird because I'm used to building up items and trading them down. And I'm not going to be doing that as much, at least leading up to Chicago, because I want to have that premier inventory ready. So I'm already starting to think of plans for 5 months out, and I think that kind of tired me down for a second, which is really kind of like a weird dynamic in this moment in time.
If you had hypothetically not got that showcase or got one from someone else, would you have considered not going, or would you have been fine walking?
I would have gone anyway, dude. Like, this is such a major show. Like, the National is incredible every single year, and like you have to be there. It would have been difficult going in and not having a showcase or two or whatever. I think that we're very fortunate. We're very lucky to know the people that we do because these are people that do have, and I'm not trying to fucking flex or whatever. Like, these are people who have $1 million collections plus, and they are theoretically our friends, and we are able to associate with them and talk to them on a regular basis, and they have connections, and the connections that we've built are invaluable, more than any other deal I've ever done. Knowing people in high places is incredible. And sometimes they are able to throw you a bone or get you into an area or introduce you to someone who builds that connection further. So if I didn't have a showcase at the start of Chicago, it would have sucked. But knowing the people that we do and how they do things, someone would have given us, or me, or you, or both, half a showcase, or put a couple cards in, or let us sit by their booth and bullshit. Because it's a fucking dude, it's a long week. I'm flying out Tuesday from New Jersey, and I'm leaving either Saturday night or Sunday night. It's 6 days.
Yeah.
And I fully expect to be so fucking tired at the end of it. I'm not even gonna want to look at my cards, much less like be like a productive member of society for a couple of days. It's
Oh,
a marathon.
by the end of the national, like you literally don't want to do cards for like a week.
It's true.
It's like I'm so done looking at these for like a couple days.
Your camera's also screwing up again. I don't know.
I
why.
know. I'm
What is
sorry,
happening here?
guys.
No,
I
it's
don't know. We
okay.
had no issues the first 20 episodes, and the last like 2, it keeps going out of focus.
Yeah, I don't know. Either you guys just like sit still or just turn off the autofocus. It's weird. I don't know. But yeah, I fully expect August 4th, whatever the like Sunday/Monday is of following the national,
Yeah.
to just be dead. Like I'm
Oh,
not gonna be here as a person. Do not DM me. I'm not gonna look at my cards. Everyone leave me alone.
yeah. Usually, I don't do like anything until like Tuesday or Wednesday that
I
next
might not
week.
even get to it till like the Friday, Saturday, depending on how my
Oh
week
no, I
looks.
mean like anything. Like
Oh yeah, I know.
I might just sit there and just like watch movies all day for a couple of days. It's
It's pretty
just so like
nice.
overwhelming. Like you do so much like talking to people, interacting, walking around, like you're just done. Like total and then the flight home, it's so much.
Well, how far is the travel from you? Because you're in Florida, so what? To
So
Chicago, 2.5, 3 hours?
it's like it's not no, it's like 145 to like 2.5
Oh,
usually.
that's not bad at all. Okay, that's not
Yeah.
as bad as I thought
It's
it'd be.
just I just hate flying, like, the whole, like, waiting at the airport, like, that whole it's like a 4 or 5-hour process by the time you get home.
Oh, trust me, I'm aware, dude.
Yeah.
When I left Chicago a couple weeks ago, I guess 2 weeks at this point, I got up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. for like a 6 o'clock flight. It sucks. It's brutal, no matter what. And that was just only because I wanted to go, see my girlfriend and like actually have a productive day at home because I could have stayed at the show and made 2 deals on Sunday. Like, you know, I
Yeah.
think for the national, you have to kind of go for all 5 days. And the reason why I'm flying out Tuesday was I was expecting to get a dealer spot and then kind of like work the room, but also just, wake up there Wednesday morning and be ready to work. If I go out on Tuesday into the town, like go catch a Cubs game or whatever, okay. Like it's just you got to have some fun. When I was in Chicago, we went to the Bulls Timberwolves game, and it went to double overtime. The game was fucking dope. Like you have to be able to be like a human being and have fun too, because if you push yourself too hard with this stuff, you are gonna end up being burnt out, and that's a whole different conversation. Which someone going through a burnout right now with cards, but like also just understanding that like this shit is really fun. And I think part of it was not being able to talk on the podcast for 10 days kind of built up a
Yeah.
little bit. So
I think people, at least personally, I definitely enjoy shows more when, like, we as a group, like, go to a basketball game or we go out to eat a couple times, like,
it's
if
so
you're
much
just
better.
it makes it so much better. If you're just sitting at a table or walking around all day, then you go in your room and do more cards, you go to trade, like, it's crazy burnout. Like, you gotta have some sort of, like, balance of, like, normal fun, like,
Dude,
in
nothing
there.
beats going to Dallas and knowing that Lucas is basically going to buy that PF Chang's. Lucas
Yeah.
being Sports Car Mania, someone who I would love to have on this podcast. He does not want to though. Lucas
Oh, he
is,
said that?
dude. He's such a quiet guy, and I mean,
That's
as a compliment.
true.
Lucas is very quiet. He's very confident. And he he does his own thing. I respect that. He's not a kid. He's 30
We
something.
should have other David on.
I would love to have Woods on the podcast. I've said that to him. He would be.
He would be a great guest.
It is so interesting, that dynamic, because Lucas, Sports Car Mania, and Woods, Basketball Car Paradise, are polar opposites as people. Woods has the most energy ever. He is the
Oh, for
Energizer
sure.
Bunny. The man is just hell bent on making deals, flipping cards and being like as successful as you can be. And I really like him. I really truly do. Woods is one of my favorite people.
He's a good guy. Yeah.
Lucas is calculated and quiet, kind of like Barkley, Card Junkie, who they also work with. It's a 3-man group occasionally,
Tandem.
mostly 2, but
trio, I guess. I don't know.
it's a trio. Yeah, it's so funny that dynamic because Woods is like the face of it, and the man is working in the room, and Lucas and Barkley are kind of like the not financiers because it's not correct. Like they are more of the quiet, just conversational. Like, hey, we're just here to facilitate the business and be another perspective. And it's very interesting how that works so well for them, and they're crushing it. And I'm really happy for them.
Yeah, I think I've never seen someone like walk across like the Chicago Convention Center so fast as Woods does. Like when he had like a 52 mantle last year, he was like going across the convention center.
I've seen him flip like 3 of those at the first Burbank. 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah,
it was awesome. I was so happy for him.
He's so good at it.
I try not to be negative to people I really like. He is incredible at what he does, but my God, the man does not stop. And it's so funny going out like either to dinner or like when the show is over and he's just like still the same person. Like, dude,
it's crazy. Yeah.
Like
do not give that man caffeine.
No, I don't think he drinks coffee, actually. I think I've asked him this before. But we all can't be Woods. We all can't flip the cards the way he does. And this is a good segue into my first thing I want to talk about is liquidity from repackers. So, Kai, you've not been to a show since the Nationals, so you kind of saw it, but like not really. In the last like 3 to 6 months, especially, these repack buyers are really the ones who are providing so much liquidity in the sports card world, especially when prices started to tank on stuff and then rebound recently. These guys are really keeping the hobby alive, and not a lot of people are talking about that. Santiago Sports was making a post Sunday or Monday of this week of recording, and he was actually ironically enough talking about the same thing. You have to be able to turn and burn some inventory, whether you've lost on it or you've had it for a while or you're not getting your full ask. You have to just understand that it's okay sometimes to lose on items and take that cash and reinvest it. I know that I'm now using a competitor consignment service who I will not name, although it's the capital of the U.S. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But that's the thing is like if there was inventory that was a little too old, or it wasn't going to a show for a while, or I want the cash, those consignment services allowed you if they.
You can say the name, dude.
I know. I'm being like that on purpose, Kai. But like if repackers weren't buying that sort of inventory, which plenty of them were, all right, go send it to DC or Joku now or anyone else and be like, hey, like let's just get this shit out of here, take the loss, and buy one large item. And I don't think a lot of people understand that like you can lose the battle but win the war. If you have a bunch of low end stuff and it's worth $2,500 and you net out, let's say $1,750, $1,800, but you buy one large item and you flip that or hold it and he ends up playing well, or you sell it for $2K, let's say, like you can get back your losses or even break even or God forbid profit pretty well.
God forbid.
You're smart. Like you're not going to win every single card. And I fucking have realized that I've lost way more times than I like to admit, but my winning percentage is still really high because I will take the stuff eventually and win with it. I don't have to win on deal number 1, but if I'm able to come back using that asset or those cards or both and turn it into something positive down the line, well, there you go. It all spiders out. Like that's the idea. And I don't think people are always willing to accept that. And I'm not telling you to go sell to repackers or resell people at 70% comps. A lot of these guys, dude, backyard breaks. Someone who, is a question mark is the nicest way to say it in the sports car world when they're breaking stuff. Their buyers are super fucking friendly. Those guys are really nice. Like,
really?
No, they.
I would never. Do they not have the main people walking around? They have like
I don't know anything about them. I'll be honest. Like I don't know anything about the backyard breaks, like breaking crew, if they're any different. But the guys who are buying for them are actually nice people. I really like those guys. I
I
saw
think it's
them,
good when they have like external people that aren't like the face of whatever
yeah,
going
or
online.
whatever.
That's definitely helpful.
They might be also. Like, I don't give a fuck. But like, if you're fair and like you're honest and you're cool, yeah. Like I saw them in Dallas and Chicago, and they bought off me both times, and they paid really well. And they're gonna go flip that stuff into Hit Parade or their own products or whatever and make money. And then they'll come back and buy from me more because I'm not a piece of shit. Oh, hey, oh my god, it works. Austin NPT cards, someone I've known for a long, long time. Man is always flipping inventory. I will sell him stuff pretty often. He pays very strong too. Hey, you might want to get to know him. I'm not telling you if you're a random stranger who has never talked to him, he's going to pay you 85% comps, but build a relationship. Once again, I've known Austin for years. It just works out. The man trusts my opinion on a price. If we can't agree, we'll work on the next one. And then you just make it work. I don't have to win on every single deal, but I know that liquidity that I'm offered, I can turn around and win on the next one. And I don't think people always will understand that.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, I think repackers are pretty big, especially the last like year or two, probably. I know Hit Parade is probably one of the biggest ones that kind of started the whole like buying a bunch of stuff at like fair prices. I
Yep.
remember at the either 2021, I think 2021 National, they were buying so much shit. I mean, they don't really buy crazy high end. I know some of the other repackers might buy some of the $1,000, $5,000 cards, but I know they were buying most of the like $50 to $500 stuff, and there'd be lines that were hours long with
They
people
were in
waiting to get
Chicago and the
refilled
same
of
thing
them.
happened.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's definitely a great thing. I mean, there's some people out there that might not move half the stuff they move if there's no repackers buying at shows. I mean,
Well, it's
so
interesting too because I reached out to a couple people who were at the Arizona show this past weekend. So Stack and Sell and Jesse's Cards, two guys who I've known for a bit, and I was like, "Hey, man, like I know I can't be at every show. I want your perspective." And it's funny that Stack and Sell mentioned how the repackers were set up and had the best opportunities to buy, and they were paying. It looks like 75-ish% comps. And if you're able to beat the repack buyers or Hit Parade or anything else, you can get as much inventory as you possibly need.
mhm.
Um, it seemed like he had a little bit of a, when you set up at Dallas or Chicago last week, it was almost impossible to get anyone or get these opportunities because everyone knew you could walk over to Hit Parade and get 85%. So you had to beat Hit Parade or
Yeah.
Backyard or whoever else was the repacker going around that show. And it's so interesting that like they're setting the market these days. Like they really truly are.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, they pay so strong on that like lower end stuff. It's really hard to beat them. I
I
mean,
know. But you have to
unless
either you have to
yeah,
find your niche. Like that's the once you find your niche in this hobby, everything kind of opens up. Like how many times have you or Mikey or anyone on our group chat said, "Oh, that's a David card"?
so many times.
Like, "Oh, it's a weird David Johnson one of one, and there's 11 of them." Yeah, that sounds like something David would get. Or Mikey gets a bat barrel auto of Mike Trout or Ken Griffey Jr. Bat knob. Yeah, that sounds about right. Like, or
Yeah.
Tyler buying Babe Ruth cuts or anything else funky. It's amazing that there are three people that were in our group chat who buy the most fucking weird things, but I'm the a hole who
And you guys,
goes.
well, you guys all somehow do good with all that stuff though. I mean, like you said, it's your niche. Like you are the one who gets picked on the most though.
Oh, it's true. But it's
Yeah.
always funny because I generally will do okay. And the example that I think of off the bat was I had grabbed at the start of the show of Chicago
The LeBrons.
the two LeBron James game used nameplate patches from Presidential's Choice. If you don't know what Presidential's Choice is, me neither, by the way. I don't know what the fuck it is. I know it exists now because we were having a conversation about Decision 2022 cards, and they were like mask cards. I'm not even kidding. It was really weird. I might pull it up on Google, on eBay, but like the point is, Presidential Choice, strange product. However, somehow, some way, they got a LeBron James jersey, and I think they're now owned by Leaf. And they cut it up, put the nameplates in there. I grabbed them in trade at $1,500. Fuck it, who cares? Like, $750 each for LeBron James. Everyone was making fun of me. You're an idiot, Dave. Good fucking luck. You're not gonna flip those at the show. And guess what, fuckers? You're right. I didn't flip it at the show, but I moved it online and I made a couple bucks. So
Can never doubt you.
no, you can never doubt me. Although you can doubt my decision making on quarterbacks I buy from the Arizona Cardinals because I struck out severely on Josh Rosen and thankfully moved all my collars. Don't buy any more Arizona quarterbacks or trade for an old running back who is, I don't even think Dave Johnson's still in the league, but somehow I'm going to make money on that lot, which is really fucking funny.
I don't know how you did it with those.
I don't
What are
either.
they called? Diamond. What is it
Top
called?
sign. First off, that product is
Yeah.
sick. Like, I love that product.
It's sick, but at the same time, it's so stupid having
Of
like
course, it's
12 of the
stupid.
same card.
I had 11,
Like,
sir, and I moved 2 of them.
sorry, my
And I
bad.
sent 9 to DC this week because I stopped caring. They sell for $20 each. I made money.
If you're watching this right now on YouTube, I want you guys to go down and comment what you think. How many did you send?
I sent 9 in.
How much total do you think the last 9 1-of-1s will sell for? Over or under $250?
I think it goes
Let's
over. I
get
think it
some.
goes like $350 for all of them. Because
I'm gonna say under.
because one of them sold for $50 on eBay. So I set the comp. I told you what I was going to do. I was going to set the
Yeah.
comp and then sell them all.
I think what's gonna kill you though is 9 of them running
I
at
don't give
one
a fuck,
time.
dude. Whatever. Get them out of my house. I straight
Fair enough.
stopped caring.
There's gonna be that one David Johnson super collector bids them all.
Dude,
for
David
like
Johnson's going to go buy them
$500
all.
each.
What are you talking about?
Honestly, yeah.
All right. Let's cut into this is something
Before we
all right, go for
Before we run down the list, do you want to hit the baseball or you want to skip the baseball?
We can talk the baseball for a minute. So obviously, I know this is shocking to people, but like we watch sports. Like, I'll go into a little tangent as I pull up like MVP and all those stuff odds. It's so crazy to me how much or how little some of the high end collectors watch sports. It is really, really scary to me that people will spend the money they do and do not watch sports on a day to day or week to week basis.
Yeah. I would say I'm pretty casual besides like Atlanta sports. Like I watch the big games, but people that spending the tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars, it is pretty surprising. They might not even watch sports at all. I don't know. I don't know how you can enjoy it if you're not at least watching like the guys you buy. I don't know. I don't know.
It's scary. It's real. Oh, that's not the wrong
one.
Oh God. Hang on. I fucked up. There it is. I found it. Sorry. Don't put me in charge of any projectors or anything important. So I have an ESPN. I just want to pull it up. Odds to win the 2023 MVP. I think you and I mentioned this. I'm going with like Trout winning the AL this year.
I'm gonna go. I want to say Ohtani, but it's just like too easy of a choice. I feel like.
Well, that's why he's the betting guy. Also, don't go gamble, kids, unless you're like you're 18 or 18 plus.
I'm just gonna pick Ohtani. I just can't see anyone topping Ohtani, so
it's gonna be mad awkward when the Angels are like 74 and like 88 or whatever 162 would equal. So
yeah,
gonna be mad strange when that happens. NL. I mean, I have said the Padres are going to win the World Series, or at least gets the World Series on this podcast. So I think I have to go with either Juan Soto or Manny Machado.
I'm surprised at those odds. He's almost double as likely to win than the next guy.
I would really not be shocked if any of the top 5 guys win. Like Soto, Betts, Acuna. Acuna is actually probably the one outlier there because he was, he wasn't bad obviously last year, but he was
he was coming back from the ACL. Yeah,
so.
I would probably take a guy not even on here. I think I said this when we did it. I'm taking Matt Olson this year. I think he's got a big year.
I don't hate that pick.
Shift.
That's the funny thing is I don't hate that pick, but like there you go. The Braves are so stacked, at least according to ESPN, that your MVP pick, which is perfectly fine. That is a fine pick. Austin Riley's ahead of him. I was gonna say no or not. I was gonna say Freddie Freeman, but that's not right. Acuna and Riley are ahead of him, and I think you have a very respectable NL pick, which is not even here. Dude, I would love to see the DeGrom win AL Cy Young. It's not gonna happen. Like this is such a bad thing. I think it's gonna be Christian Javier.
I don't like any of these guys. Why is Bieber so high? Bieber was so bad last year.
Well, that's the thing too, but he does have the track record of winning a Cy Young.
Dude, I don't like any of these guys. Cease has been getting lit up too in spring training. I'm gonna say this: if DeGrom pitches like enough to qualify, I'm gonna say he probably wins. But I don't think he probably pitches enough to qualify.
Agreed.
So therefore, I'm gonna off this list alone. I'm gonna take Otani as well.
Dude, that would be fucking so. Okay, if that
Can you
happens
imagine?
in your world, let's say Otani wins not only MVP but also Cy Young, and I assume he wins fucking Hank Aaron Award and all this other crazy stuff. Is he a Hall of Famer if he plays 10 years? I think at that point he is.
If he plays 10 years, he's probably a Hall of Famer
No,
after that
so
season.
what I'm saying is you have to play 10 years in order to be in the MLB Hall of Fame once
Oh,
next
I didn't
year
know that.
happens. You didn't know that? Interesting.
Um,
Yeah, you have to play minimum 10
uh,
years.
yeah, he's a no doubter. Yeah, no one's ever done that, probably,
Well,
right?
that's exactly it. That's what I'm saying to you. Like, I can see the old head saying like he didn't play. If he only played 10 years, or like he just stopped pitching, or
Well,
whatever.
the thing with him is he's probably going to stop pitching at some point, but he'll have another 5 years of being a great DH. Like,
It's an interesting conversation. I think if he does what you're saying, which is win MVP, Cy Young, and all the other awards you'd win as a result,
well,
I think
my thing,
I think he's in the
yeah,
Hall of
my
Fame.
thing is he would probably win the MVP because of the Cy Young. Like, so it's kind of like a coinciding thing. Like,
Well, I mean that's not unusual. That does happen, but I'm pulling up just baseball
yeah,
because
when
what I'm
was
saying there is like he also hits like amazing. Like I'm saying he hits like
yeah,
40 home runs.
who was the last pitcher to win MVP?
I believe it was Verlander.
Was it?
Yeah, I believe it was Justin Verlander in like 2017.
Those are some nice cards you're looking at. I'm gonna go snipe them all.
What cards am I looking at?
I don't know. You had them on your Google search.
Oh, whatever. He won him. Cy Young MVP in 2011. Oops. Oopsie.
You think
I knew he won
Tim
MVP.
Lincecum ever win MVP?
No, he won 2 Cy Youngs.
I don't think anyone's won since then, probably, right? That I can think of.
Well, we can pull up the list. MVP votes. All right. Well, this is 2022. This is not helpful, but yeah, unless it's gonna be Otani, like I don't see it happening again. Like, not for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. That's a tough one. All right. And Cy Young, I think this is yeah, that's not happening. Verlander is not winning it again. I'm sorry.
Number 5 on that list is though.
Spencer Strider, yeah, it's shocker. I don't
Have you,
love.
dude? His stats are crazy, man. Like his advanced metrics, like insanity.
I don't love this list either, but I know Corbin Burns is pissed at the Brewers right now for like how they insulted him, and for whatever reason, I guess Wisconsin players just like love to play with spite. Give me Corbin Burns when Cy Young.
If I had to pick a non-Brave, I'm taking Wheeler. I think Wheeler's so underrated.
I mean, he's on the list for Cy Young. I'm not sure how underrated you could be.
He's underrated.
Oh, whoops, that's the wrong list. Home run leader in the AL. Oh no, this is both leagues.
Home run overall.
Yeah.
I'm taking Jordan.
Jordan is a really good pick here. I am going to go with Kyle Schwarber. Those are I mean that's fine.
That's a solid pick. He just has a little bit of health issues. I don't know.
All right, I don't think there's really anything else because we've talked about the World Series before. I believe you have Braves and Yankees, and I have Padres/Braves versus the Yankees. So I think we got our MVP, Cy Young.
Yeah.
Baseball predictions in. Any like hot take or anything spicy you want to throw in there before we close up that segment?
You have anything while I think on it?
I think that the Rays finished in last place in the AL East. I'm giving you I'm giving you one just nasty hot take. Just like I said, the Celtics. Just like I said, the Celtics would like not make the playoffs.
So this is like a steaming hot take. This is
no. This is not like
it's going to happen
too seriously. This is me saying something stupid happens and the Rays somehow finish last.
Okay, I'll copy you and I'll say my steaming hot take is the Mets finishing 4th or 5th.
Oh, that's funny. So at least in the AL East, like my take is bad, but
actually, sorry, no. I gotta take that back. Take that back. They finish in 3rd or worse.
Okay, I was gonna say
finish 4th
because at least
3rd or worse.
At least in the AL East, you can make the conversation that like the Orioles are like a year away, but they're like a trendy pick for the wild card, let's say. Yeah. But I think the biggest issue with my prediction is the Red Sox because the Red Sox do not look good this year. The Red Sox might finish
I think they don't look that bad on paper. I mean, we'll see how they play. They're a bunch of like scrappy vets.
It's going to be a very competitive division. Like the Blue Jays have a lot of promise they have to fulfill on. They haven't been able to do. Yankees are obviously the favorite right now. The Rays are consistently one of the best teams around.
I think the Orioles are gonna have a sneaky season too.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. So like
Yeah.
my stupid hot take is somehow, some way, the AL East is so competitive, the Rays finishing last, but like they win like 75 games because it's so competitive. Everyone beats themselves
I
up.
think I would take another one and say that 4 teams make the playoffs from your division.
Oh, that's a good one too. Actually, I like that. I like that hot take.
Because
I
there's
don't
3
really.
wild cards now, right? Or is there 4?
I think that's how it works. It's like a 1-game playoff. So
Something like that, yeah.
yeah,
But I'll go
it's
with
been a
that.
bit since I paid attention to all those
Opening day
rules.
is Thursday too.
I
That's
know, I'm
exciting.
so fucking excited. I love it. It makes me so
Yeah.
happy. I love baseball. Baseball will always be on like my TV in the background now.
Yep.
All right, so we kind of touched on this momentarily, but like, what do you think about the whatnot situation with like scammers and how it feels like there was like 3 days in a row
I
last
was
week
gonna
where
say,
someone
yeah.
was getting caught like stealing cards? Like, oh hey,
I
oop,
Yeah, I've never
it's a
seen
Luca
3 of
card.
those.
Oops,
Those
not
are
anymore.
ridiculous. The amount of times it happened in, like, a couple of days was wow, I've seen, like, probably a couple in the last, like, 3 years, and then 3 or 4 pop out in a week. It's like,
The
my
funniest
god.
thing too was like it was the worst attempt I've ever seen at stealing a card. Like
Some of
not
those were so
like
bad.
hang on, I gotta go get something from my office. Hang on. Oops, this card is missing.
Totally
I'm gonna take
just
that.
takes it off cam.
But like,
Yeah.
not only did you like, so for anyone who does not know what we're talking about, first off, how the fuck are you watching this podcast or listening to this podcast and not knowing about the situation with Retail King? But I digress. Basically, what happened was a box breaker on Whatnot opened a pack of cards and saw very clearly a small glint of something hollow. Now, for anyone who is not familiar with the product they were opening, that was one of two things. It was a downtown or maybe an auto, I guess, in that product theoretically. So not only did the guy like very clearly like show the top of the card, which was hollow, which if you're watching on YouTube, you can see me mocking it. He like somehow just pulled it off camera and just put nothing there. It was like, what the fuck? It was the easiest thing to see. It wasn't even clever. Like, no matter what the card was that he stole, because he did steal the card, it wasn't worth your fucking Instagram, your whatnot page, or your
Yeah.
business. The guy is done, and I don't feel guilty for him. Fuck him. Like, you're a thief. You can say you fire the employee, quote unquote, but like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
you're breaking on like a what was he breaking on? Like not a
Like,
laundry machine, something
whatnot?
stupid. The guy was breaking on
Oh.
like a bedroom cabinet or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my thing about it was gonna be like, do you think they said, "Oh, we fired him, like, this isn't our policy," like, as a scapegoat, or you think that was like a group thing, like, where like, "Oh, you find this card, like, you take it off camera, and, like, if something happens, we'll just say we fired you."
I don't know enough about it to tell you.
Not to be conspiracy about it, but
If it was me looking at the situation objectively, I think that it was a coordinated effort. Like I think they were stealing
I
cards.
would agree probably.
Like
Yeah.
it's a shame, but like also fuck that guy. Like he deserves everything that bad happens to him and like his business or his page or both. So you can't stand for it. Like it's unfortunate,
Yeah.
but like
Videos
you're a
of
piece of
them,
shit.
like, talking about it are so bad, like, they're
I
so
know.
stupid to watch, like yeah.
It's just a shame. Like it's so interesting to me that like even scammers on Instagram too, like they're not that clever. But what I really think is happening, and this ties into the next conversation I want to have about hype outside production and like this greed, is we are really fucking greedy as a hobby. And I think what's really happening is these pages that are very clear scammers. Either they're stealing someone's card primarily, or they're making you pay Zelle or bank or Cash App or anything that you can't trace back. It comes down to greed. I have seen so many examples recently of like bad fake Instagram accounts selling cards that are like 20% comps or 30% comps and people getting scammed. Because guess what? You're fucking too greedy. You're seeing dollar bills and you're not using your brain. And a card that's worth $5,000 being sold for 1,200 or 1,250. What the fuck did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I definitely like people are gonna fuck up sometimes. Like when you're just first starting out on like Instagram, like maybe you don't realize it, but I think after a certain period, you gotta just like understand what's real and what's not. Like,
Yeah, no,
come on.
listen, I want to make this clear. I am not saying people that are new to the hobby or people that are like just stepping into like even the mid-end world of trading cards, like, yeah, you're fucking stupid. How dare you get scammed? But what I'm saying is if you are someone who's a little more experienced on Instagram, like I've been here for a bit, and you see a deal that's too good to be true, it is. Like, what the fuck? What did you
Yeah,
think was going to happen?
like 99% of the time, there's
Yeah,
always gonna be that 1% that's
of
like,
course, there's an
but don't use that as a
guy
motivating
there's an
factor
old
to buy
guy who
those
like has a
deals.
car that he doesn't know what he's
Yeah,
doing. Dude, when ironically enough at a Chicago show, a man walks up to me with a Jerry Rice silhouette, um, NFL Shield Auto, 1 of 1. I'm like, yeah, I want it. How much? He's like, oh, like $1,400. But I pretend to look, I comp it. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. And I sold it to Mikey for 2,500, and then he flipped it for 4K or whatever. Like, yeah, whatever. Like, that deal's too good to be true. Whatever. Like, because it's in person. I don't think the card's fake. Or when I bought my Babe Ruth ball, I was sure it was real. Like, yeah, I can tell you the 1% times when like shit works out. But dude, it's not going to be like that online. We have all the
yeah,
resources available to us. If it sounds too good to be true, you're getting scammed most of the time.
yep. And dude, just like ask someone. Like,
Yeah.
it's really not that hard. Like, send us a DM.
Yeah, me,
Like,
you,
literally.
anyone you trust, your fucking Instagram story, maybe to get to your
Yeah,
biggest audience. Like, dude, just ask. Don't think with fucking dollar bills. Think with your goddamn brain. Like,
yeah.
I feel bad for those who get scammed, but when it's like a hobby veteran or someone who's been on Instagram for a while and they get scammed by someone who's very clearly fake, I have less sympathy because, like, you know better. You know what you're trying to fucking do here.
Yeah.
Moving through to something else that I feel very impassioned about is this hype outside of production thing. Now, for anyone who has like known me for quite a while, this is something that I have lived and died by forever. Hype will always outsell production. You're seeing it happen right now with insert young quarterback name here: Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Jordan Love. Anyone who is young who could potentially be better than they currently are is selling for astronomical prices, especially on their high end stuff. It is so fucking stupid because just like in COVID times, like when there was like a period of time when nothing else was going on and all assets were going up, there is no reason why most of these players are going up to the way they are. Like they're going up hundreds, if not 1,000 plus every week, every couple weeks, whatever it's going to be. It is truly unhealthy for the market. It results in someone getting off holding the bag, and whether it is in Chicago in August or July or right before the season starts in week 1, someone is going to get absolutely fucking crushed on all these young players. And it's crazy to me.
Here's my thoughts on that. So you can either look at it in one of two ways. There's two types of people that are going to be buying these cards. There's people that are going to be transacting on them weekly, like buying and flipping them.
Yep.
And then there's the Packers fan who wants a Jordan Love contenders auto that's going to sit
Or
on
an
it for
NTRP that's worth
years.
$6,000 right now.
Yeah.
7.
Now, if you're transacting on it, you might make money, you might lose money, who knows? But if you're going to sit on that card at summer prices or spring prices, like when they're going up to stupid levels, like you're going to get fucked.
Yeah.
Unless he's that 10% chance he's a Hall of Famer.
10%, more like 0.01%. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
it's like, yeah, sorry, yeah. But
Like he could
that's my
be Jordan
thoughts.
Love could be the next Donovan McNabb, for instance, who is a very good player. McNabb led his team to the Super Bowl his second year in the league, I believe, and was like runner-up for MVP. That is awesome. Like if McNabb played in this era and like had those accomplishments, like his career like goes the way it does, his NTRPA theoretically would be absurdly priced because the hype of him, especially coming off like that second season where like he made it to the Super Bowl, was an MVP candidate, would be like a Joe Burrow type. And it'd be fucking absurd because you see how the rest of his career went. He was very, very good. So what do you think is
Yeah.
going to happen? Like, where do you think this is going to go?
If you're like just want the card and you're fine with the financial like up and downs with it, then I'll be our guest. Like, go buy what you want to buy. But I think if you're holding these quarterbacks, like expecting them to be like Tom Brady prices in a few years, like be a little more realistic about it. I mean, just think about it a little bit. Like, no, who's done that? Mahomes, like one guy in the last 20 years since Tom Brady.
I mean, yeah, but there you go. I mean, I understand the argument of like, yeah, look at Mahomes and TRPs, but bitch, they also dropped. Like they're dropping.
Yeah, they're
They're
like
not
what,
they're not
half, a
5K
third of what they
anymore.
were.
I
Yeah,
don't know. I couldn't tell you the exact numbers. I know they're down. Like shocking.
yeah,
Everything
they're
eventually
like
will come down.
yeah,
So
they're under 100K. They were like a couple 100K like
that's
a couple years
exactly it.
ago.
Like
Yeah,
you have to time it correctly. And I think the best time to sell these assets is right before the greed overtakes everyone. Because just like a year ago in AC, when every single person who could and then did had Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and Joe Burrow, I guarantee you there will be at least 50 Jordan Love NTRPAs, Justin Fields NTRPAs, Trevor Lawrence NTRPAs. So much of these assets are going to be available in Chicago this year. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? Are they all going to get sold or traded? Maybe, but someone's going to get holding the bag tremendously, and you do not want to be the one doing that. You want to be the guy right before that happens. Make your fucking money, take your greed out of it, and move on. Like, I don't think people really understand it or want to hear the truth, but those assets, if they get to week one and they're running onto the field and you own the card, you're fucked. Like, it doesn't matter.
yeah,
Unless they just come out and ball, you're fucked.
yeah, exactly. If you're holding them going into the actual season starting, it's literally gambling.
Yeah.
Like it's literally there's no methodology there. Like it's literally gambling at that point. So
And it's funny, and that's thank you, Kai, for the amazing segue into this conversation, because an article came out March 26th, and this was sent to me by one of my friends. This really kind of hit home for me. This is talking about sports card addiction and kind of like this dark beast that kind of hangs over the hobby when people are breaking, people are razzing or gambling or doing hit breaks or whatever. And like, what can happen to you? This is an addiction. We are degenerates, Kai. We are addicted to either the sports card throw making a deal or the sale and trades or both. But I think you and I have a better financial grasp on it than the average person. I think we're okay. But this is what can happen when you don't. Like this person was in debt from fucking trading cards, and he was
they
compulsive.
were breaking though, right?
They were breaking, yes.
So it's a little
Breaking
bit
is
of
a
a
whole.
difference, but
Of
still.
course, it's different, but like once again,
Yeah.
that's like how you want to buy a Desmond Ritter NTRPAs or whatever comes out, and he's bad.
Yeah, fair enough.
You
Fair enough.
would
Yeah.
gamble on it, or if you buy Jordan Love or Justin Fields
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whoever else we were talking about,
Let's
you're
not put the
gambling.
Ritter bad out into the world. He's gonna be really good.
Okay, Ritter's the goat. And you can clip that. It talks about addiction. It talks about like what the guy was going through, and psychologically, yeah, this guy was addicted, just like how someone can be addicted to cigarettes or smoking. I guess you can't get addicted to weed, but whatever. Drinking, smoking, whatever else. This is gambling. This is like DraftKings gambling to the utmost extreme. It's kind of funny to like poke fun like, haha, this guy opening basketball cards lost all his money. Fuck him. But it's really sad. Like it's really, truly sad. And I think you have to keep this in the back of your mind always. That like this is a real possibility. This is who some of the end consumers are for these repacks or these group breaks or both. It happens. Like this is the end result. It's not always
Yeah.
this person, and they don't always go into financial ruin, but it happens. This is proof that it
Yeah.
does.
I mean, statistically, if you're breaking, like, you're not going to make money. I mean, there's the anomaly of hitting the crazy card, but I mean, I don't think people, especially like new people, like they don't realize that you're not probably going to get a great return from breaking. They might see like a cool clip on Instagram or whatever and be like, oh, I need to go buy into a case break with the most expensive team. And then they get skunked and then they don't do cards anymore and they're out $5,000. It's like,
That's how I started in
maybe
sports cards, man. That's literally how I
yeah. So maybe like look into it a little bit, play with a little bit of cheaper things if you want to break, but it definitely is easy to go down the road of spending 50K on breaks and then being fucked.
People are going to do whatever they want with their money, and I respect it. But for the general audience, I think it's worth calling out that It's scary. It really truly is. And I don't know what's going to happen next with like these breakers and the repacks and everything like that. But when financial times get harder, which I think we're not in a bubble, but like it's so interesting to me to see the cash get exchanged at shows, and then like there is a unrest in the economy. It's just like, dude, this is fucking weird. Like this is not the real world, and I think we have to understand that like the last couple years in sports cards have been absurd, good, bad, or otherwise. It has always been a journey, and I think you have to understand sometimes for people the journey ends in addiction, and it's scary.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, how do we make people feel better about that? We can talk about the average Joe getting into collecting and like how to step in the
Yeah,
higher
this is a
world.
good topic. Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, this one, I mean, off the precipice of gambling is not ideal, but I think it's worth the conversation because hang on, I'm gonna flip the camera back to normal. It's worth knowing because we get asked this pretty often. Whether it's at shows or comments or anything. Kai, people DM me about this pretty often. How do you escape the world of low to mid end into higher end items? And for this conversation, let's call low end anything under 20 bucks, mid end anything from 100 to $500, and higher end, let's call anything over a grand. I think that's a decent conversation point. If you think it's too low or too high, okay, well, this is a
Just
video.
a rough guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, like whatever. This is our interpretation. Obviously, people will scale up or down accordingly. And it goes back to kind of what we were saying about the repack stuff. Like, it's okay to take a small loss or a medium sized loss on certain items if the goal is to consolidate. Like, you have to be willing to lose a little to win in the end. And you're perfectly welcome to go and list everything on eBay and sell it at auction or give it to a consignment service or both. The point is, you have to be willing to reset. And if that means you're selling off 500, $5 to $10 cards, you buy one nice item and you flip that or sell that or trade that or whatever, all those losses kind of disappear. Like it is a lot easier to move one $500 item than 55 items or $10 items, I should say. You just have to be willing to understand the steps needed to do so. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
my
know.
thoughts on that is sort of building off that you need to be okay with losing, even though it might be your first card you buy. I think quantity over quality when you're first starting out, whether that's buying 10, 20 cards, grading them, buying 5 cards of a basketball player you like, buying 5 cards from the set that you think's underpriced. I think the quantity over quality, instead of buying a $500 card that might go down to 200, you have 10 $50 cards that maybe you lose 10% on a couple of them, but the other ones you grade and half get 10s, and you make double your money. I think quantity is a big thing people that's starting should try out.
Well, the good thing is too is that you have a different perspective, and there's no wrong way to do this per se. It's just like what flavor works for you because some people don't
Yeah,
like to grade, and I don't blame them. It used to be significantly easier and cheaper to grade with like PSA.
it used to be
Dude,
like
I
half the price. Yeah,
loved like early 2020, I guess even 2019 when like grading value was like $9 for PSA. Just send a bunch of shit in and just wait. And
you
I
mean
would
right before all of our cards got stuck at PSA for like 2 years?
thanks, Marks. I really love you. Totally cool. Yeah, but before that happened, and I was using someone else. Ironically, I was using Sasha. Sasha was doing PSA subs for a bit,
Yeah,
and he was great at it. And then he realized that was not for him. You would get your cards back in 3 or 4 months, and they would go up in value because they would be graded, and you'd be able to flip stuff like that. Now it's a little more difficult. It's not as easy as that. You have to look for other opportunities. I know people like to go dollar bin hunting, which sounds miserable to me, but more power to you if you do it. But there are those who can find a $5, $10, $20 card, and you're able to build off of that. Um, I'm a more fan of combining assets into one or two larger items and then moving those. But I think your perspective too on a balanced, quality and quantity mix works. You might eventually get to the point where the inventory might be stale or older and you want to combine it into one item, but there's no wrong way to do it if you're just trying to learn more and get more out of this. So the biggest jump in my mind is from the $1,000 cards to the 2 to 3 to 4 to 5,000, because that is a lot of money. $1,000 is not cheap to the average person. Like, that is a paycheck. Like, that is a full paycheck after taxes that you're buying one item with. But if you're able to combine 20, 30, 40 items into that $1,000 item, and you flip it for $1,250, $1,300 because you buy under eBay, that's a couple days
How
of
you
work. Right?
start?
Yeah, it's a start.
Yeah.
Like, you can build off of it. And I can only speak from my experience and how I've done it. It's awesome. It's a great feeling, and not even talking in the $5,000 to $10,000 world, like that small $1,000 flip or $500 flip here or there. It's an incredible feeling, and you are able to build off yourself. And
there's nothing better than getting a card in the mail, taking a picture of it, and then selling it and making like $100 in like 10 minutes.
Just don't go on, old school and try and sell it for the full value. You'll get offered 43 comps.
Yeah, you definitely will. I would stay clear of there if you're a newbie.
Yeah. And then you have those who are going to undercut you and lowball you anyway. Instagram's interesting with that stuff. Instagram is 50% no one contacts me, 30% is good, and 5 to 10%. I know that's 90%, it's not 100. 5 to 10% is just like value, comp.
Scene.
Price. Yeah, left unseen. Yeah, 10% being left unseen. I fucking hate that. There's no other way to make sure I don't want to do business moving forward if you leave me unseen. Like, just say no, thank you. Like, just be a fucking human being, man. It would have pissed me off. That's like an old man, but it's true. I fucking hate that stuff.
Yeah.
And what else I write here? I wrote down a couple notes. I'm like, what has worked for me? Be respectful but fierce. How ironic. Being respectful of someone's time and how you message them is super important, because you're going to want to continue that relationship potentially down the line. But you can be fierce. I'm kind of a dickhead. I know that. That's perfectly fine. But I am respectful. Like, hey, it doesn't work. All right, no problem. Like, that's it. Like, I appreciate your time. Like, I will respect your ability to say no, but I'm going to be fierce on it. Like, oh yeah, your price is over comp. Okay. My price.
Yeah. It's
Move
like,
on.
Sorry, man.
Be truthful but firm. Kind of falls in the same vein. Like, all right, yeah, like, here's the value I'm seeing. It comps at $1,000. I want $950. It's like, will you do 900? No. Did you do 925? Okay, I'll do 925. Like, I'll split that with you. Like, will you do $700? No. Fuck you. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to undercut myself that much. Be upfront, and greed is contagious. Oh, how fitting. We were talking about how young quarterbacks are going to keep spiking, and then someone's going to get holding the bag. Be upfront. Be truthful. Like, hey, the last 3 comps you're going to check on card ladder on this item are $1,100, 15, and 12. I want 13. Then they check card ladder and they see the value. Oh, the guy's not a piece of shit. Okay, that's fine. I believe you. I've heard several times in deals like, oh yeah, like, what are their comps? I give them the comps. All right, I believe you. Like, what? Why? Why do you believe me? Why would you do it? Check the comps yourself. You're gonna see them anyway. Like, let me just tell you what I know. And if there's new information, cool. I'll use that in the next negotiation if I'm wrong. You're gonna check anyway. Be upfront. Like, it makes you look better as a dealer when you are respectful, truthful, and upfront, and also have the ability to be fierce, firm, and not as fucking greedy as everyone else.
Yeah, I think the only people I wouldn't double check comps on would be like friends. I mean, like, you should be.
Oh, dude, I've spent so much money with Mikey, and like, he'll like, Dave, you're paying this price. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm never gonna not double check like a random dealer. Like, why would I not check? Like you said, like, it takes 2 seconds.
It does.
Yeah.
All right. We have. This one's tough. This is enough. This is the last section, and I think it's one that I hold very near and dear to my hearts. And it's the issue with sports car personalities in general. And while some of them are great people, actually great people on camera and off camera, how they can do more harm than good. I think the issue with this kind of ties into everything we covered, the addiction part, the hype cycle, everything else. I don't think every sports car personality is the most honest or respectful person. There are some I really truly like as people, and they know I like them because I've said that to them in real life. There are those though who concern me, and when you have those individuals who do have an audience who are either children or young adults who don't maybe follow every single day investment advice, quote unquote, or sports car knowledge or Instagram in general, but like just buy off what the guy behind the camera is saying, you get into situations where people get hurt financially. And it scares me. And I don't think that just because you have a camera in your face and you're selling and trading cars makes you a good role model. And I think a lot of them are pieces of shit.
Yeah, it's been kind of a big theme in the last like week or two. I know there's been talks like certain people that make these YouTube videos being like so nice on camera and giving stuff to kids and then being complete assholes like to normal people. So
It's really
I guess
weird.
just yeah,
Dude,
follow who you want to follow. Like
I don't really give a fuck about these personalities some of the time. Once again,
I don't think anyone really
most of
does.
these are
Like,
general
really.
general thoughts. Like I don't really care about them. I care what cards they have, and that's it. Like if we, and once again, generally, there's a lot of people I do like. Santiago Sports, Sasha, Jay from Mojo Sports. Jay really fucking impressed me. Jay was genuinely nice to every single person around him all the time in Dallas. Super, super friendly. Could not speak his praises any higher. Just a nice guy all around, and just happens to make YouTube videos. Good for him. Awesome person. Who else to like? There's others I like. There's obviously others I don't like. But
Ryan's really good too.
Ryan is really so. Ryan actually gave a question that I dropped my phone. Didn't mean to do that. I was gonna pull Ryan's question.
Ryan's been around for a long time. Ryan's a
Ryan
good
outwardly
guy.
asked questions about shows. Now he thinks there's too many of them. Ryan, if you're watching this, awesome. Thank you. But thank you for writing in too. Also, good guy. Has been around forever. Genuinely a nice person. Like it's just crazy to me that I don't know if it's like the allure of being a social media influencer or whatever kind of like poisons the well on the people that we should be putting on a pedestal versus those who don't even fucking belong there.
Yeah. I will say Ryan is probably like one of the only people that I like actually watch their like content. His content's so good. It's so
It's
entertaining.
almost like he's a good person and just happens to make content about it.
Yeah, he's one of the few people I actually like take the time to like watch YouTube videos with my lunch or whatever. But there's definitely a big separator between people like him and then I'm not gonna name anyone, but like you can just tell like
you can tell when they're too
visual difference. Yeah.
Yep. Greed is contagious. Greed you can smell, greed you can feel.
Yeah.
Like whether or not you tell in the moment, you can figure out eventually who is either solely in it for the money or like wants the status.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, Ryan, I do apologize for not answering your question. There's too many big shows every week. What does that mean for the hobby and shows? I think you're splitting the market. I think that these shows need to coordinate better. A couple weeks ago it was Dallas, Nashville, Philly. I think there was one other major show that I'm just forgetting. So good job. It's too much. Like there are too many shows that are occurring at this moment in time. I wish that show owners would actually not use this as a dick measuring contest, but like have constructive conversations so the hobby grows in general. But all you're doing is driving stakes in the ground and trying to, divide, not unite.
I think hypothetically, if they did communicate on planning the shows, hypothetically, there could probably be a big show every weekend. Is that fair to say?
Define a big show. So
a show you would travel, like be willing to travel to.
I think it's entirely possible.
Just hypothetically, like if
hypothetically,
spread them out how they are now, hypothetically,
every other week, like Dallas is running the show. Dallas 100% runs the show cycle. Every 6 weeks or 8 weeks, give or take, there is a major Dallas show. People travel for it. That is the fact. It is truth. And guess what? Dallas is the fucking king of it right now. The National is different. That's once a year. Dallas is the king. I would put the Burbank show on the same level at this point in time. They are still growing. They have gone from a small show to a major venue right away. They crushed it. And now they're in Anaheim Convention Center in a couple months. The one thing that Dallas does differently than Burbank is the quantity of shows. Burbank is going to do 2 or 3 a year, and Dallas does 5 or 6, give or take. They are on the same level. I would even say Burbank is a slightly better show because it doesn't happen as often. They are quantity, or they are quality. Dallas is quantity and quality. Then you have, Chicago is another major venue. Nashville, the Mint, I think happens once or twice a year. It's really hard to tell.
Atlanta, maybe.
Atlanta's not in the conversation. Like, they are all kind of fighting for like this tier 3 status, which is still a great show. Don't get me wrong, but like, there's a very clear divide from Philly's in there too. Del Mar is in that conversation. Like, shows that like are in consideration that like you occasionally will go to. It's a sliding scale, and you can tell what shows are doing better or worse. And then there's up and coming newcomers. Minnesota is doing a show in a couple of weeks, or I think it might be happening right now. I don't really know. I wasn't going to attend anyway, but it's the first time they're doing it, and I know people that are going, and I want to hear what they think. It might be a consideration down the line. I know there's a show in Iowa I was personally invited to. Or Des Moines, Iowa, yeah. I said no because I didn't want to travel. And then there are larger local shows. There's a 3-day show, Kai, 2 minutes from my apartment. No one's ever going to travel to that show unless you're in the tri-state area.
Yeah.
Like, there are different tiers to these shows. I think that they do have to coordinate at least somewhat, at least be aware of each other. I know for a fact the Nashville Card Show wants to compete with Dallas, and that's why they keep choosing the same weekend. It's fucking stupid. And I like that show, but like, you're not going to win against Dallas. Don't even try. Like, you cannot offer anything special than Dallas.
They're just shooting themselves in the foot. Like,
they are.
Not that they're going to be willing to cooperate and playing around each other, but like, at least like maybe make an effort. Maybe they are, and we just don't know. But like, I feel like something's got to like budge to the point where it is possible to maybe go to like 3 of the big shows in a month that aren't all on the same weekend.
Or at least have them not compete against each other. Why is Dallas competing with Philly that's competing with Nashville? Why is that at the same time?
Yeah, those are 3 shows. People are all going to want to go to all of them. I mean, you would think they would maybe try to space them out a little bit, but I guess not.
It's egos. It comes down to egos, and I think that's an issue in sports cards in general, is we have an ego to ourselves. But I will tell you at the end of the day, dude, I don't give a fuck what you do. I don't care what you have. If I want the card from you, I'll DM you, or if you want my card, you'll DM me, and I keep it that simple. Everything else is kind of secondary. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I think we're wrapping up the episode now. This is a damn good episode. I want to make sure we understand that. Like, there are a lot of key topics here that a lot of people are afraid to kind of have that conversation about. And I feel very strongly about a lot of this. I'm excited to see if there's any lasting conversation from like this type of stuff, if everyone really gives a fuck, or if it's just like white noise. I really think that this could be a very successful, instructive conversation. That's what I hope for.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, there's some things that people maybe in the more what's the word? Maybe in a more don't want to talk about things, maybe stuff that we talked about that will be informative to people who watch a bunch of these podcasts and stuff and don't get that kind of info or insight.
Yeah, listen, once again, I want nothing from this podcast. I don't want fucking money. I don't want a sponsorship, although you should go use Joku consignment services. I want nothing. I just want it to be real. And anything that comes from that as a result, awesome. That's it. That's all I want. I don't want to be a fucking hobby influencer or a goat. Like, I think it's fucking cringe. I just want a good conversation.
You don't want to be a goat?
I don't want to be a hobby goat. No, dude. I want to be a hobby legend. Like,
it's also just fun to talk about card stuff for an hour.
It is. It's just, dude, it's great. It makes me happy. If one person thinks a little more critically about sports cards,
it makes me happy.
It does. This makes me happy. If one person thinks more critically about sports cards after listening to this podcast every single week, we're a success. I don't care
Yep.
if you listen to anything else. If you just consider being more critical about something in a positive or negative way, if you choose to be that way, awesome. Think more intelligently, learn more, seek something else. And
Yep.
that's the odds of success, which, haha, 28-3.
All
Sorry.
right, guys. We'll see you
I,
next week.
yeah, I had to start with that. I'm going to end the podcast with that.
Well, hope you guys all enjoyed. It was a great episode. We will see you back next week. And yeah, you got anything else, Dave?
Nope. That's everything I have to say.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching.
Peace.